Good morning, Flosstube, and welcome. This is Flosstube number 4. My name is Sally. I'm also known as Flossie Sews and Grows. That's my YouTube name. And I'm also on Instagram as Flossie Sews and Grows. So come over there and say hello too. This is a channel about cross stitch, and I might at some point when the weather gets a little bit better here in the UK and I start doing more out in the garden and the allotment, talk a little bit more about my growing. But at the moment, it's all really being put to bed. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's lovely to see you again. And thank you if you commented on my last Flosstube. I think I asked the question of comments on where you're from, and I got lots of people who told me where they were from, and there's quite a few of you in America, so hello across the pond. So it's just lovely to find out where everybody's from. Some of you, there's places I've been to, some of you not, but I'd love to come and visit. So yeah, it's great making friends across the seas. If you're new, welcome. I really hope you enjoy listening to me and watching what I'm showing you with my stitching. If you do enjoy it, please, it'd be wonderful if you subscribe, and then that will give you a notification of my next video, so you can keep up with me and what I'm up to. It's a beautiful sunny day here in North Wales. It's the 18th of October. I've actually changed rooms. My sewing room is an absolute mess. It is a messy mess. A couple of reasons. First of all, my other half had COVID last week. So he was off work, and we stayed completely separate. The last time he caught it, I caught it as well. So I was very much avoiding him, and he was avoiding me, but he still managed to get under my feet. So I managed to spend a reasonable amount of time in my sewing room last week, trying to, so our paths weren't crossing. So just doing lots of things. I'm doing a winter fair in November with one of my friends. She's an artist. I think I showed you a picture that my partner had commissioned for my birthday on my last Flosstube, and that she'd painted. Well, she takes commissions for artwork. She also does block printing and as well as watercolour, and she makes cards. So she has a massive range of wonderful Christmas cards. So we're going to have a table together at our local winter fair, and she's going to sell cards, and I'm going to sell some of my stitchy things. So possibly on my next Flosstube, when I've made a few more, I'll come and show you some of those. Nothing cross stitch, but mainly things with quilting fabric, little bits and bobs. So it's a bit messy in there, and also I'd moved my Halloween display things that I'd had up there, and I've moved them into our dining room so that everybody can take advantage of them. And yeah, just slightly distracted. We actually have chickens. So sitting in the dining room, I'm looking out at double doors, and we've got chickens in the garden. And I threw them an apple core earlier, and they were fighting over it. And now they are not far from the door. I think they can probably hear my voice because the door's slightly open. And they're squawking away. I think they want some attention, probably food. But anyway, I hope they don't disturb you, but they might distract me a little bit if they're being silly. Anyway, so yeah, so I've got lots of stitchy loveliness to show you. I was quite busy last week. We had friends to stay before my partner caught COVID, luckily. They managed to avoid it. One of my really good friends who I've known for almost 20 years, who now sadly lives in New Zealand. She has a daughter who's 16 days younger than my daughter, so she moved to New Zealand after she had her little girl, and I had mine. So we actually worked in almost adjacent buildings when we both lived in London, and so our daughters are both 12 now, and she has a younger daughter who's 10 as well. So she's come over to the UK to visit her family, and luckily she managed to come and have a weekend with us last weekend. So that was absolutely fantastic catching up, but rather a lot of Prosecco drinking. So didn't get a huge amount of stitching done, but I've still been reasonably busy. I think last time I spoke to you, I'd just done my 10 starts for September, 10 smalls, which turned into 13 stitches of Halloween, thanks to Athena X Stitches, who's on Instagram, and also I think on Flosstube as Stitching Goddess. So I'll just make sure I'm correct on those and put them below for you if you want to go and have a look at Athena. She's very much very Halloween stitchy, a bit darker than my stitching, but also a massive Harry Potter fan, and we're huge Harry Potter fans in this house. So a sad week for us, because those of you who watch Harry Potter, Robbie Coltrane, who's a massive character in the British acting world, passed away on Friday. So it's quite really sad news, because he was wonderful, and obviously he played Hagrid in Harry Potter, so it was absolutely fantastic. So so go and watch Athena. She's really fun. She's doing a little Flossoween, so she's on YouTube every day in October. Anyway, so out of those 13 stitches of Halloween, I've got 3 fully finished objects to show you. I've got a finish, and then also I've got I can show you the progress I've made on my whips, and a new start, and some plans. So let me start with my fully finished objects. So first of all, this was Halloween Parade, and this is from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher Fall 2022 issue. This is designed by Misty Purcell from Luminous Fibre Arts, and I stitched this on 32 count. It was an antique white linen, and actually I added some orange dye to it to give it a little bit more. I'm not sure how well it's coming up on camera, but yeah, I hand dyed that fabric myself, and then I've just finished it. This is the first time I've done Rick Rack, and I think it just needs to be a little bit higher up, but it looks okay. And then just a little Moda fabric there, and then I've backed it with that's also a Moda fabric. I think it's a mistletoe manor. I've had it for quite a long time. I've had it before my daughter was born, so it's over 12 years old. I hadn't got very much of this little pumpkin one. I thought I want to use that on something else, so I just thought, well, I'll back it with something that I've got quite a lot of. So quite pleased with that one. My second FFO is this one, and again second time with Rick Rack, so let's not look too closely. But this is the Laurel Witch. She's the Laurel Witch on Instagram, and I'll link her website details below. But this is the UK witch. So as you can see, that is Her Majesty the Queen. And I actually didn't have any fabric that I could back this with, but actually I'd got some paper, so I just actually made a kind of little backing board for that to go on. And I did change something in this. So Maxine from Nightmare Before Stitchmas, she had, just as I'd got this pattern, I saw that she'd stitched it, and the hat and the original design is yellow, and Maxine had actually changed hers to red, and I thought, yeah, that's a great idea. I'm going to change the hat, and actually I changed it to Etoile, if you can see I don't know if you can quite see the spring, there. So it's DMC 310, but the Etoile, so it's sparkly. And then actually I did the little crown. There we go, you can see that a bit better. In Krynic, and then the little ruby red was also DMC Etoile, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. So this is actually, I'm going to gift to one of my friends. It's her birthday tomorrow, and we're actually going to a Halloween party at her house. So it'll be maybe a little Halloween party present, a late birthday present, but quite pleased with that. Obviously a little bit of rickrack around the sides and little rickrack hanger. So really pleased with that, and hopefully she will be as well. But this is my absolute favourite. I'm really pleased with this little finish. So this is Sweeping the Garden. So this is Barbara Anna, and this is from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher as well. I'll put below which issue it is. It's either, I think it's either 2016 or 2017. And I just loved stitching this. So this is on a 40 count fabric that I'd bought a bundle off a lady on Instagram of her scrap bags, and this is one of the fabrics that was in there. And then this is a Moda quilting fabric that I've had, and I've just put some felt on the back to hide the gubbins, hide the back bits, and then just a little hanger. Now I bought one of these last year. This is for the UK people. These are home bargains, and they're about £5 or £6, I think, £5.99 maybe. Great hangers, and I hang this up in my hall at Christmas and hang all my little Christmas decorations from it. I've got quite a lot that my mum's made me and cross-stitched for me over the years. So actually what I'd like to do is get more Halloween stitchies and hang those on that. So that'll be my first Halloween one on there. So hopefully I should have a little Halloween display in the hall as well as behind me by the time we get to Halloween. So those are my 3 fully finished objects. Really pleased with all of them. And then I have one finished object. I haven't yet fully finished. So this is Jack from Teresa's Primitive Treasures. Again, another one from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. Really enjoyed stitching that. That's on 32 count. I think it's a natural or a raw linen. Again, it was from the stash buster I had of scrap bag. So I think it's natural raw, because I have stitched on similar before, and actually that was stitched 1/2. And I've realised, I think on a few stitches that I'm doing on 32 count, I'm thinking they're quite bulky when I'm doing them 2/2, and I think certainly even on 32 count, I'm going to be doing a lot more 1/2. There's actually a couple in my whips that I'm almost debating starting again, where I've started them 2/2 and actually doing them 1/2. I think they might look nicer. So we'll see. So that was my finish. So I need to fully finish that one as well. Then whips. There's quite a few of these still from the 13 stitches of Halloween. I wanted to get some finishes under my belt, really. So firstly, we've got Midnight Jack, and that's this again, another Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. That's what, oh, you get quite a glare there, sorry, of my doors. You might be able to see the chickens. So that's what that will look like. So he possibly will be a little hanging to go on my wire holder. Then this is the Good Witch sampler. So Midnight Jack's designed by Teresa Mellon of Delaney Wood Treasures. Then we have the Good Witch sampler. Now I've not done an awful lot on this. This is by Rosa Design. Midnight Jack, again, he was on a 40 count fabric from my stash bag, as is Good Witch sampler. She's on 40 count from my stash bag, and that's by Rosa Design. Haven't done an awful lot on her. I wanted to get some of the other ones finished, so she's there for the next 2 weeks to do. Another one on a piece of my stash bag, 40 count fabric. I love this fabric. Don't know what it is. Nothing was labelled. It was just all bits in a bag. I think I showed it on my... Did I show it on Flosstube number 2 or Flosstube number 3 maybe? So go back and have a... If you want to see my lovely stash of fabrics that I got, go and have a look at that. So that is Boo from Hello by Liz Matthews. A little bit of progress still to make on that. That, if I can show you this without the glare. There we go. So that's what that will look like when that's finished. Again, that's a design that's in the latest issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, which I have a digital subscription for. Hence, I'm not showing you the charts for things because it's all online. Whip number 4 was Witch Ride. And this is a Barbara Anna design. Again, from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, an old issue, and there, that's what that will look like eventually. So again, with a little mouse. Everybody who I showed my Swoop in the Garden to just loved the little mouse. So it's obviously another little mouse, but one that the witch is riding. So very cute. That is on Country Vintage Mocha. Again, that's on 40 count, and that was in my stash bag of goodies that I got. Now we all love this one. Trick or Treat, Smell My Feet. So this was a freebie a while ago from La Dida, and I think I've shown you previously. I've got the By the Pricking of My Thumb, Something Wicked This Way Comes from La Dida. So this is a bit of a one to go with that, but I'm hoping again I'll be able to hang that in the hall. Then we have Halloween Delivery from... This is from the Jubilee Lantern. Jubilee, I'll put it below. By Brenda Gervais. And this is Halloween Delivery. A bit slow on this one. This again is on, that's on Country Vintage Mocha. I'm just trying to think what count it's on. I think it could be on, I think it's actually on 36 count. I had a scrap of that from somewhere. Yeah, that's on 36 count. It's a little bit easier to see than the 40 count. But I don't know why. I just seem to have made slow progress on that one. It's not stitching up quite as quickly as some of the others. This is another one from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, and it's Autumn Harvest. And this one is designed by Manny Di Donna, and I love this. Although this is one of the 32 counts that I feel perhaps it just 2 over 2. I just think it looks a bit bulky, and I wish I'd have done it 1 over 2. I think it would have, because that's actually on the same fabric as Jack. So I just think it would have been nicer. So on this one now, I've got to a bit of a standstill on this one as well. This now says, let me show you a picture of it. It will now have Autumn Harvest. Now the Autumn Harvest writing is done 1 over 1. It's tiny and it's just fiddly. I'm not sure actually. You can see I've started it, and I'm not sure I'm actually enjoying that little bit. So I might just unpick the writing, and I might just do that as just what's there already without the writing. as a little tiny round and just finish it without the writing. So don't know what you think. Comment below if you can think what I could do with that, or I could get a different font. I've got lots of charts that have got writing on, so I could do something myself, but I might just unpick it and might just make it as a little tiny round, I think, rather than, it's either that or I might just end up leaving it in the basket for until next autumn, which would be a shame. So I might just unpick that and finish it as it is. So we'll see how far I've got on the next floss tube with that one. And then, so my final one of my 13 stitches in Halloween was Blackbird by Blackbird Designs. Now this is one of the Beatles Magical Mystery Tour series, which my partner's a huge Beatles fan, so I've told him I'm stitching them for him, which, yeah, not really stitching them for me, but here we go. And that's how far I've got with that. So I'd actually done quite a lot of that last time, and I think this time I haven't done a huge amount because I've obviously been getting those other ones finished. I think I've only just done this flower and just started here, but that's quite an easy, that's a 32 count. I'm debating whether I would have liked to have done that on a smaller count, actually, made it a little bit more delicate. But I've done so much now, I won't start again on that one. And then I have got 2 whips that I have told you about before, but at the time they were secret projects, and I thought I wasn't going to show you because, well, the first one, it was for my daughter. And when I first started my floss tube, she was so excited. Oh, I'm going to watch you lots, Mum, and I'll have you on all the time. Well, I don't think she's watched me once. So I initially didn't want to show this because I didn't want her to see it, and it was going to be a Christmas present for her. But I think I'm not really stitching on it much, and I think I need the accountability from you out there in floss tube land to get me stitching on it, because if I've told you about it, I'll want to stitch on it so I can show you some progress for next time. So this one there's not very much done. So my daughter is a massive Stranger Things fan, and I know the lady commented, I think, on floss tube number 1 or floss tube number 2, and I should have written your name down. I'll put a note so that people can go and have a look at your Instagram page. But she started this, or she'd finished it, I think. I thought, oh, my girl will love that. So yes, this is it's going to be the Hellfire Club logo from Stranger Things, and that's from Cloud's Factory. So I bought that. Bought that as a PDF. So yes, I'd seen it on Instagram and thought, I've got to get that. So yes, I need to get on with it, really, because there's lots I want to stitch for Christmas. So, and then the other one, this was a pattern, actually, and I think I've shown you this briefly, and then I've hidden it on my Instagram page, because actually the friend it's for does look at my Instagram, and I had lunch with her yesterday, and we were talking about my floss tube, and she said, oh, I'm just so busy, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. And I said, that's fine, don't watch it until after Christmas, because then I can show other stuff. So I bought this on from a lady who was having a Dish Stash on Facebook. So it is Heart in Hand, and it's called Wonderful Life. Now, this is for my friend, it's for her daughter. So this year, my friend's adopted a little girl, and she's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So this is for her. So this says, how wonderful life is now that you are in the world. And actually, I'm going to change it very slightly, and I'm going to put how wonderful life is now that you are in our world. So I just think, yeah, I loved that. So this is how far I've got with this so far. And again, this is one I've started on a 32 count fabric, 32 count linen, sorry, and I've started it 2 over 2, and now I'm thinking, should I have done it 2 over 1? No, 1 over 2, just because I think it's just a little bit bulky with 2 threads, but then I think it's quite a vibrant picture, so I'll possibly get away with it. But yeah, so I need to, that's also going to be for Christmas, so I need to get on with that. And I know my friend's not going to watch the Flosstube, so she's not going to see it, so it will still be a surprise. So those are my whips. Now, I had one new start. I was supposed to start another Halloween for the 13 stitches of Halloween, but I haven't, and I may not. We'll see. Just see how much time I've got. That's the doorbell. Excuse me. Unbelievable. When you want the doorbell to ring and a parcel to be delivered, it doesn't. And when you don't, it does. And it was a big, big bag of toy filler for stuffing things for Christmas fair. So I'm glad I answered it, but sorry for the interruption. So where were we? Start. Yes. So anyway, I've been thinking, I've never stitched a sampler. And thought, I've been thinking, I'd like to stitch a sampler. What could I stitch? Anyway, I was listening to a lady called Ray from Red Barn Samplers. So American lady. I was watching, so I think she's on I think she's done three Flosstubes, and I was having a watch of her, and she had a free pattern. I thought, well, maybe that's a good idea to start a little sampler that's free, just to see if I enjoy it and if I'd like to do more. So so her freebie, which she's also, so she's Red Barn Samplers on YouTube and also on Instagram, and she's got a link, I think, on both for her website where you can get this freebie. And the freebie is Jemima Fortune Cunningham Smith. And it's actually, let me show you a picture of it. It's actually a Scottish sampler, which is wonderful for me. I'm my maiden name, so my family are originally from Scotland. I was a Cameron before I got married. So so it's lovely to have a little Scottish sampler. So this is Jemima Fortune Cunningham. I think she 1883, and just a lovely story behind this sampler, because Ray had bought it and didn't know any detail about it. Didn't even know, it's not got a name on it. It's just got the name of the school on it that the little girl went to. Didn't know anything about it and bought it, and then took the back off to look inside, and there was actually a card in there that had been written by the stitcher's daughter in 1993, when this lady was in her 80s. She wrote that her mother had stitched it and all the details. So it's fascinating story. So if you go and watch Ray on Red Barn Samplers, you can hear a bit more. So this is how far I've got. Not very far. But, and that's on, so it's on the called for thread. I think Ray had originally stitched it in a mauve, and then when she'd taken the back off, that had actually found a bit of the border that hadn't faded in the light, so she'd got the original colour, so she changed the colour. So that's on quite a dark pink, and it's lovely. I think is it 3865, possibly DMC 3865. And I'm stitching that on a 35 count, I think it's antique white. It was just nice and simple. So really enjoyed that so far. I have got a little bit of frogging to do. I made a mistake last night, and I thought I won't frog it until after I showed it to you. So really enjoyed doing that. So really that has led on to my haul. So I've been watching For the Love of Stitches, So Eleanor has started a new Flosstube channel called For the Love of Stitches. Now Eleanor is from the Yorkshire Dolly Mixtures. Now don't do what I do. I went to search for her last week, or search for the Dolly Mixtures, and I couldn't remember which sweetie they were, so I searched for Yorkshire Jelly Tots. Anyway, they didn't come up. Anyway, I suddenly realised it was Dolly Mixtures, not Jelly Tots. So I found Eleanor's new floss tube, and she's a huge sampler stitcher. She does lots and lots of samplers. So I think on Yorkshire Dolly Mixtures you see more of a variety of her stitching, but her own YouTube channel, she is concentrating on a different sampler designer each time, and showing what she stitched from that designer, and what charts she's got, what stash she's got. So it's really wonderful. So I was watching her first Flosstube number 1, which she was concentrating on Hands Across the Sea. Now I've looked at Hands Across the Sea samplers and terrify me because they're so huge, and speciality stitches, and just scared me. But she showed one that she had stitched, and I just fell in love with it. Now this is probably, it was released in 2020. It's an Australian chart, or Australian sampler, that Hands Across the Sea have reproduced. Now you've probably all seen it before, but I just fell in love with it. It's Jane Marshall. Jane Marshall. What year? 1857. And that is actually, it was released as a special edition, I think, to help raise money for the Australian bushfires in 2020. And then Hands Across the Sea have actually released as a little gem, so you can only buy it on their website as a PDF. But I really fell in love with it. I just loved I think the flowers at the bottom and the band, just loved those. So that has been one of my purchases in the last couple of days. So just absolutely love that. And then my other bit of haul. So the lady that I'd bought A Wonderful Life off on a Facebook destash page got in touch with me and said, "Oh, I've got some other charts. Are you interested? Before I put them on Facebook, are you interested? Here they are." And I, of course, said yes. Can't say no to anything. So I've got 3 Little House Needlework. So Needlework ABCs, Autumn ABCs, and Summer ABCs. A little bit of glare there, I'm afraid, but anyway, so they're all beautiful. But the one that I really wanted that she had, that I just couldn't say no to, was, of course, because I do love the cottage garden samplings. All of Vinnie's charts are just amazing. So this is Peace on Earth, and I'd had my eye on this for a while. I'd loved it, and so when my new Facebook friend had offered it, I said, yes please, I'll buy that. So I would like to think I'll get that one done this side of Christmas. I definitely think I'll make a start on that in November for Christmas. Yeah, so a bit of haul. And also, I think I said to you in my last video, I'd been to my local garden centre and they've got all their craft stuff half price, and including DMC threads. Of course, I have been back there. I needed to get some onions. We need some onion sets for the allotment. So I needed to go to the garden centre, and of course I just thought, well, just get a couple of DMCs, just sneak them in the basket. So I did that. So that leaves me with my plans. So, well, certainly for the rest of October. We're halfway through October, so I've still got a bit of time before Halloween. So I will try and get as many of those little smalls finished for Halloween as I can, and also finish Jemima. She shouldn't take long at all. I think I've spent 2 hours maybe faffing and choosing fabric and quick stitching, so she should be finished up quite quickly. I need to work on those 2 Christmas presents, the Wonderful Life and Hellfire Club. I may start Jane Marshall, may leave her till the spring. I think, you know, I know it's only October, I know we haven't got to Halloween yet, but Christmas is fast approaching, and I think it's definitely time to start thinking about Christmas stitching and what I would like to do for Christmas. And I have got my Barbara Anna Dreaming Miss Claus, which I haven't worked on since I last spoke to you, so I'm not showing you that today, but she definitely, I'd like to get her finished for Christmas. So there's quite a lot of stitching, I think, between now and then. And also I need to do prep for the winter fair that I'm doing at the end of November with my friend. So I think, yes, it's going to be a busy few weeks, a few months. There's lots to do, and it's all just wonderful, I'm really enjoying my cross stitching at the moment. Really enjoying. I'm watching lots of Flosstubers. Just, yes, the Yorkshire Dolly mixtures, and For the Love of Stitches in the last couple of days. Daisy K Primitives, I've loved watching her. She's got some fantastic stitching. Who else have I watched? Oh, Crafty Stitches. Oh, Steve, Heather. Just when I listen to Steve and Heather in my craft room, if my other half's sitting at the other end of the table, we just get fits of giggles. So I tend to listen. I don't know if anyone else does this as well. I tend to listen to Flosstube at double speed so that I can listen to more. So if I speed you up, I can listen to more of you. Now, if you haven't watched Steve and Heather Crafty Stitches, you must. They're hilarious. But they giggle a lot. They giggle a lot. So Steve especially, double speed giggling. Very funny, very funny. Go and have a listen to them and double speed them. And when they laugh, I dare you not to laugh along too. I really do. Just both of us. And my other half now, he doesn't cross stitch. He tolerates me cross stitching. But he now says to me, "Oh, is that Steve and Heather? Oh, is that the gigglers? Is that the gigglers?" So yeah, Steve and Heather, you bring us lots of laughter. You bring lots of laughter to our home. So thank you very much. So everyone, go and listen to those two as well. So yeah, I think that's me for today. So thank you for joining me. I'm kind of working on about every 2 weeks at the moment for Flosstube. So that would take us to the 1st of November. But I might just see if I can sneak one in just before Halloween to see how much of my Halloween stitching I've done. If not, it will be beginning of November. But yeah, so thank you for joining me. The chickens haven't been too noisy. They've not distracted me. It was just the doorbell. If you've enjoyed listening to me, please, I'd love you to subscribe. I'd really like to hear comments below. If you stitch on 32 count, do you stitch 1/2 or do you stitch 2/2? I really need some help on that and sorting out whether I need to starting all my projects on 1/2, or do you give it a little, do you try first? Do you, depending on what fabric or what linen you're using? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So yeah, thank you for joining me. Happy stitching. Have a great couple of weeks. And if I don't speak to you before Halloween, have a fabulous spooky Halloween, and see you soon. Bye.